A warm welcome to all my dear 4th standard children. Today we are going to see the next topic, next chapter from your science, right? Yes. So what is your next lesson? It's about adaptations in plants, right? So we are going to discuss in detail about the plants. Yes, of course. We all know that plants, they grow almost everywhere on the earth, is it? Yes. Now these plants, so we can see different type of plants that they grow in different places. Yes. So we can see plants, they grow in forest, in deserts, near to the water bodies, and also we can see plants that they grow in marshy areas and plains, right. So we see different type of plants that they grow in different places, right. So the place where plant grows naturally is called its habitat. So what is habitat? So habitat is a place, so a place where a plant, so not only a plant, even we can say about the animals also. So where the animals live naturally, that is known as habitat. So a place where a plant grows and lives naturally is called its habitat. Right. So these plants, they change themselves which suit their environment, to suit their surroundings, right. So they adapted themselves in that particular places where they can live for many years, right. So this change that help a plant to live, to survive in that particular places is called adaptation. So what is adaptation? Now let us write what is adaptation. So habitat is a place where a plant grows and lives naturally is called its habitat, right. So now let us see what is adaptation. So what is adaptation? So what is the definition of the adaptation? So the chapter is about adaptation in plants, right. So you should understand what is the meaning of adaptation, right. So the change that help a plant to survive. Survive means live, okay. Survive means live. So the change that help a plant to survive or to live in its habitat. In its habitat, so that is known as adaptation. So for example, we can see a lotus grow well in a pond or a lake, right, while a mango tree grow in plains. So we cannot see a mango tree in a pond or a lake, and the same way we cannot see the lotus plant grow in a plains, right. So these plants, they changed themselves, that help the plant to survive in that particular place is known as adaptation, right. Yes. So now let us see the types of plants that they grow in different places. So according to the nature, so the plants are differentiated into two types. So one is known as terrestrial plants. So terrestrial plants, and the second one is known as aquatic plants. Okay. So, the plants that grows on land, so that is known as terrestrial plants. So, they grow in land. So, they grow on the land. So, the plants that grow on the land, they are known as terrestrial plants. And the plants, some plants we cannot see on the plains, right. So, or on the land, we can see in the water, right. So, we can see plants that grow in the water, near to the water also, right. So, those plants are called as aquatic plants. So, aqua refers to water. So, the plants that grows in the near to the water or inside the water, on the water, so they are called as aquatic plants. Now, you learned what are the two types of plants, is it? Yes. So, the plants that grow on land are called terrestrial plants, and plants that grow in the water, near to the water, they are called as aquatic plants. Now, let us see what are the terrestrial plants. So, we can see plants that grow in plains, on mountains, in deserts, in marshy areas, near to the coastal areas, in rainforest. So, we can see plants that grow on the land in different places. So, first we are going to see the plants that grow in plains. So, in plains, the plants mostly in plains, the climate is hot in summer and cold in winter, right. So, the plants, the trees that they grow, example, so these trees they grow in plains. So, these trees when they grow in the plains, they have a lot of branches, right, and they can able to bear the heat of the summer. Even in the summer also they can able to bear the heat, and they shed their leaves in the autumn season. So, during the autumn season, so once the summer is in the summer they can bear the heat, and in the autumn season they will shed their leaves. So, usually the trees in plains they shed their leaves in the autumn season, and the trees grow new leaves in the spring season. So, in the spring season we can see new leaves that grow in that particular trees. So, the trees in the plains, so they shed their leaves. So, that is why the trees that shed their leaves during the autumn season, so they are called as deciduous trees. So, usually the trees in the plains are deciduous. So, what is deciduous? So, deciduous means D-E-C-I-D-U-O-U-S. So, deciduous means the trees shed their leaves in the autumn season. So, what are the examples of the trees? Shesham, Gulmohar, Banyan. Okay. So, these are the trees that they grow in plains, and also let us see some more examples. So, we can see sal, neem, peepal, right. So, these also trees that they grow in plains, right. Yes. Now, let us see plants that they grow in deserts. So, in deserts the climate is very hot and dry, right. So, you can see plants like cactus, date palm and babul. So, these trees, date palm and babul is a type of tree. Okay. So, these plants they grow in deserts, right. So, they can withstand the heat. So, they can able to survive in the hot desert. So, they can survive without the water also. So, that is why these plants they adapted themselves to suit according to the deserts, right. So, if you see cactus, so in the cactus the leaves of the cactus reduced to spines. So, you can see some spines on the cactus, right, chapati mullu they will say, right. So, on that plant you can see some spines, mullu mulla irukkum, yeah. So, actually it is not a spine, it is a leaf actually. So, on the cactus plant la pathina அந்த முள்ளு முள்ளா இருக்கிறது தான் வந்து லீஃப் ஆக்சுவலி, சரியா? ஸோ அந்த க்ரீனி பார்ட் வந்து லீஃப் கிடையாது, அந்த முள்ளு முள்ளா இருக்கிறது தான் லீஃப். ஸோ தி லீவ்ஸ் ஆஃப் த கேக்டஸ் பிளான்ட் reduced to spines, so to prevent the loss of water, and the thick fleshy greeny stem is there no in the cactus, so that stores the food and water. So actually it is a stem. So in the green part இருக்கிறது stem and the spines தான் வந்து leaf. Okay, so in the spines வந்து prevent loss of water, and the stem and the greeny thick green stem that stores the food and water. Okay, so that is why they can able to withstand in the hot desert, even in the dry desert they can able to survive in that particular places. Okay, right. So now let's see, there are some plants that grow on mountains. So on the mountains mostly the climate is almost cold, so we can see cold climate, and sometimes in some places we can see snowfall also, right? So the trees on mountains, they are very tall, straight and conical in shape. So you can see the tree in a conical shape, right? So what are the trees that are grown on mountains? Fir, cedar and spruce, even pine. So pine, these trees they have conical shape. Why they have conical shape? Because they adapted themselves to prevent the snowfall. So once the snowfall falls on the trees, the snowfall will slide off. Okay, so that help the snow to slide off. So that is why they have a conical shape. Okay, so thereby the snowfall will not stay on the, the snow will not stand on the trees, right? And also you can see these trees, they does not have flowers. So instead of flowers they produce cones. So this is known as cones. So you can see once you go to Ooty or Kodaikanal, so there you can see the tall trees, so they will have cones. So this is known as cones. So instead of flowers they produce the cones, and these cones have seeds inside them, right? And the trees, mostly the trees that they grow on mountains, they have the they have the leaves throughout the year. So throughout the year they will have a greeny leaf, they will not shed their leaves. So that is why we can see evergreen trees, they are also called as evergreen trees, because throughout the year and the varsham fulla and the trees vandu pachayave irukum, endha ilai vandu udirave udiradu, right? So we can see evergreen trees are found on the mountains. So this is about plants on mountains. So now let's see some plants that they grow in marshy areas. So in the marshy areas you can see the soil, so it will be very sticky and clayey soil, and with more amount of water, so with a lot quantity of water is present, right? So the trees, the roots of these trees do not get sufficient amount of air. So that is why the roots of the trees grow above the soil. So you can see the roots of the trees, right? So that grow above the soil, and once they grow above the soil, they can it helps these roots help the plant to take in the air, right? So we can see mangrove trees. So mangrove trees grow in marshy areas. The next one we are going to see, this is the mangrove trees. So where the roots, this is actually the roots will not get air inside the soil, so that is why they grow out of the soil to get the air. So next we are going to see plants that they grow in rainforest, and plants that they grow in coastal areas, so near to the seashore. So we can see plants that they grow in coastal areas, so they are very tall and straight. So mostly we can see coconut trees that they grow in coastal areas, and these trees that they grow in coastal areas can able to survive in salty water. So in the madri trees vandu even and the water vandu salty irundha kuda they can able to survive, but some plants they cannot able to survive in salty water, but the plants that they grow in coastal areas can able to survive. Okay, the next one, the plants that they grow in rainforest. So in rainforest, so the climate will be hot and it will be very wet, and usually there will be always heavy rainfall will be there, and we can see many type of plants that they grow in the rainforest. So we can see thick crowned trees, and also there will be small trees and also climbers, chinna chinna kodigal they will say, right. So that also that they grow in the rainforest, right, and many animals that they live in the rainforest. So the trees in the rainforest also are evergreen. So even in the trees that they live in the rainforest will not shed their leaves. So they are evergreen. So throughout the year they will have leaves. So they are called as evergreen trees, right. So now let us see about the next one. So it is about the cereal plants. So actually grass family. So we are going to discuss plants about grass family. So the plants that come under grass family. So actually what are the benefits of the grass family? So even the grass family provide us various benefits. The first one is cereal plants. So cereal plants also are grass family. So cereals are nothing but a grass plants, right. So this cereal plants provide food to the animals and human beings. Of course we eat rice, maize, barley and then wheat. So these cereals actually they are food, right. So they give they are a food to the animals and even for the human beings, right. So it plays a very important, the grass family plays a very important role to provide the food. And bamboo is also comes under grass family. So we actually we know that bamboo is a very strong wood, right. So even we cannot break it, right, but it comes under the grass family. So bamboo is a plant that come under the grass family, and we can use the bamboo for many purposes, right. So we use bamboo to make baskets, broomstick, huts. So we can build huts using the bamboo, because bamboo is very strong, but it comes under the grass family. And also we can make chairs and mats using the bamboo tree, that is bamboo grass family, okay, right. So in this class you almost learnt what are the things that you have learnt. So you have learnt about what is habitat, right. So the first one is you learnt about what is habitat, right, and you learnt what is adaptation, right, and also you learnt the types of the family, the types of the plants. Types of the plants. So we can divide the plants into terrestrial and aquatic. So what is habitat? The place where the plant grows and lives naturally is called habitat. And what is adaptation? The change that help a plant to survive in its habitat is called adaptation. And what are the types of family? There are two types of plants, terrestrial plants and aquatic plants. The plants that grow on land are called terrestrial plants. The plants that grow in water are called aquatic plants. So we discussed in this class about the plants that they grow on land, that is terrestrial plants we discussed. So what are the plants that they grow in different land areas is, first one we discussed about the plains. So the plants that they grow in plains. So we saw gulmohar, sal, neem, peepal, sheshem. So these plants they grow in plains. And we saw plants that they grow in deserts. So date palm, cactus, babul, they grow in desert. And we discussed some plants they grow in mountains. So fir, pine, cedar, spruce. So these trees grow on mountains. So the trees that they grow on mountains will not have flowers, they have cones instead of flowers, and they are very tall, conical in shape, and they are very straight, and these cones will have seeds inside it, okay, right. And also we discussed plants that they grow in marshy areas. So in marshy areas the roots of the plants grow out of the soil to take in the air, mangrove trees grow in marshy areas, and the next one we saw is in coastal areas. So, in coastal areas means near to the seashore. So, coconut trees can able to survive even in the salty water. So, we saw about coastal areas and also plants that they grow in rainforest. So, in rainforest the trees are evergreen, and we can see different type of plants that they grow in rainforest. Always the plants, the trees will get the heavy rainfall, and they will be hot and wet also. And finally, we discussed about the grass family. So, under grass family, we discussed about the cereal plants like rice, maize, wheat, barley, and also they provide food for the animals and human beings. And bamboo, also come under grass family. So, they are very strong and thick, but they also come under the grass family, and we can use bamboo for many purposes to make mat, chair, broomstick, right, to build a hut. So, all these things are used by using the bamboo, right. So, about these things in this class we have discussed, right. So, now children, so in this class you have learned about habitat, adaptation, and the types of plants and the plants that grow on land, right. So, hope this class will be very useful for you. Go through the video and again. Below, after you watch the video, in the below description link you can see a Google Drive link. Click that and take the adaptation in plants study material, question bank, and self assessment. So, take the study material and copy in your science subject note and read from your science subject note. So, after you are thorough with about this lesson, take the self assessment and do the self assessment. By doing the self assessment, you will come to know how far you have understood about the adaptation in plants. So, thank you for watching. Have a good day.